Hey everybody, it's Scott, the Digital Marketing, the MBA, and the founder of SEM The Label. That's SEM The Label. And I appreciate you stopping in to check out this interview with Kasim Peterson, the marketing director for Maybach Music Group, Rick Ross, and a bunch of others. Just a marketing expert and guru. This was one of the best inside industry music marketing interviews that I've been a part of. It's phenomenal. You're really going to enjoy it. I recommend you sit down with a pen and paper. It's a long interview, but there's a lot of gems in it. Now, two things I need to tell you up front. That's why I'm jumping on here before the interview. Number one, some of this has been edited out. And the reason that is because there were some things that were just for the insiders. And nothing that's going to take away from the interview. But for example, one part towards the end, when we get into a question and answer session, Kasim actually gives out his phone number to the members of and the special guests that are invited, but members of SEM The Label. And that's because he felt comfortable with them and with us and what we're doing. And he had spent an hour and a half with these people talking, and he knew nobody was really a flake. But you can understand why now that I'm making this public and putting it on probably YouTube or on our website, and that anybody could get to, that I have to respect the man's privacy, and he didn't give it away to the general public. So there's just a couple items like that that have been removed that are just reserved for our insiders. So I'm sure you can understand that and appreciate that. But hey, link in my Instagram bio will allow you to become a member for $14, but that's not why I'm here. It's not a commercial, and I'm not pitching. The second reason is a little bit of the video in the beginning, it got lost. And all it is a setup of the story of how he met Rick Ross. And the way that went down, it's important to understand this, was that Beat Billionaire had put out some stuff on social media. He was a producer for Rick Ross. And Kasim saw it and said that the graphics were horrible. They were embarrassing. And he didn't know him. And you got to understand, at this point, Kasim was already doing work for Dipset, was already making money as a designer. But he took that image and redesigned it for Beat Billionaire and sent it over to him free. And that's something we talk a lot about in the community is giving. And, you know, there could have been a big opportunity to say, you know, hey man, this is what I do, and I'll do this for you for $35 or $100 or whatever he charged, but he didn't. He gave it free to make the connection, and that was a big point that we talked about, and I don't want you to miss that. But because he did that and he gave that to him free, they ended up getting on the phone, developed a relationship. He invited him down to work with him in Atlanta on some things. And that's where we jump into this video. And he's talking about the day that he was supposed to go home from being in Atlanta and working with Beat for some time.
To like his VP of being on the market. So, you know, we working from there, doing more things. And then it was one day I was down there and I was supposed to go back home. I was going to get on the Greyhound to get back home. And he was like, yo, bro, I need you to come somewhere with me. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we were on the highway for mad long. And I was like, damn, bro, for all this, you could take me to the bus station. He was like, nah, we almost there. So so we drive probably like 5 more minutes, and then we end up getting to this gated community. So he had the key code, the gates open up. So we drive down, and then that's, you know, we in this cul-de-sac. And then in the cul-de-sac, I see this gate with 2 R's on it. So I'm like, oh, I think I know what's going on here. So we get into the driveway, and then we go inside this house. So as soon as we get inside the house, you know, there's plaques everywhere. So it's Ross' house. Well, his second house anyway. That's a studio house. So it's plaques everywhere. So we go down to the basement. That's where all the studios are at the house. And everybody's down there that's part of the team. So I mean, I get to meet everybody. And then one guy in particular named Tomcat, who's Ross' engineer, also his right hand, said, you know, I'm showing all the artwork I'm doing. He was like, bro, your work is great. But I tell you what, if you sit down in that chair right there, I guarantee you, when Ross walks down those stairs, he's going to want to work with you. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, right. You know, people always talking. You know, they're always chatting. So I'm like, all right, whatever. But I sat in the chair. So I sit in the chair for maybe like 2 minutes, you know, having a conversation with him. And then a few seconds later, Ross walks down those stairs. You know, we greet each other, and he looks over my shoulder. He was like, "Yo, you doing that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "I got something for you. Go in that studio right there and tell them to play the record I just did and see what you can come up with." So I'm like, "Cool." And that record happened to be Idols Become Rivals. That was one of the first ones I did for him. And I knocked that out in maybe 10 minutes. And then he was like, "Nah, this is dope. I got another one for you." Did another one. And then not only did I do the artwork for the single, I took care of all the promotional and marketing assets for each single as well. So he was like, "Nah, this is good. I'm gonna fuck with you." I'm like, "All right, cool." So we leave. The next day we go back. So who was there at the time? Oh yeah, Currency and his manager Musa. They're there. So I'm sitting there having a conversation with Musa, and Musa showing me everything they were doing for Jet Life at the time. And Ross comes over to where we're sitting at, and he said, "Musa, you met Kasim?" We're like, "Yo, whatever you need from, just let Kasim know, he'll take care of it. He MMG, he got you." And so I hear him say that, but it doesn't register. I'm just so focused on the conversation I'm having with Musa. So as we're leaving, B Bennett goes, he's like, "Yo, you heard what he says to you?" I'm like, "What?" He says, "You MMG." I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Nah, you in." I'm like, "All right, cool, I guess." So and then from that point on, Ross kept calling me 3, 4 in the morning whenever we just swapping ideas back and forth. And that pretty much got me in the door as far as just handling the graphics for MMG at the time. So from that moment, we had got nominated for the Grammys for the Purple Lamborghini Suicide Squad. So I took care of all the assets for that. I did everything for the Wingstop. I did everything for Bel Air. Did everything, anything that he had his hands on. I basically took care of all the digital artwork for. We go to LA for the Grammys, and then he sees me out there. He's like, "Yo, bro, what you doing out here?" I was like, "I'm here to support the team." He was like, "Nah, that's dope. That's real. When we get back to Atlanta, check in with me. I got something for you." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So we didn't get the link. So then what happened? Oh, the album. Right before Ride You to Me, the album comes out, we had this release party. We converted this building in New York to a big piece of art with Mr. Brainwash. So he sees me there. He was like, "You here too?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm here to support." He was like, "Nah, you definitely got to come to Atlanta. I got something for you." So I'm like, "Cool, whatever. I got you." So some months go by, we try to link, but scheduling was too crazy because at the time I was already working with Planes over at Rock Nation. I was already still doing stuff with BB, I had my own set of clients, so scheduling was kind of all over the place. So July, he hits me while I'm in New York, and he calls and like, "What you got going on?" And so I'm in New York. I'm just just here taking care of some things. Like, "You need anything?" He's like, "Yeah, when you get some time, come to the A. I got something for you." So I'm like, "Cool. I'll see you tomorrow." So basically, I left New York pretty much that evening. It was that morning, and I just drove to Atlanta that same day. So when I get there, he's at the studio at 12 Music Studios in downtown Atlanta, and so we didn't get to see each other till the next morning. And so when we do see each other, we're talking, and it's a photo on my IG of that moment, and he asked me what I had working on, so I showed him everything I had working on. And then he was like, "Listen, this is what I got for you." So in that conversation, he gives me the game plan for the rest of 2017, the entire 2018, and also the first half of 2019. And he was like, I want you to be the one to do it." And I was like, "For real?" He was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna go home and then I'll come back and we'll just work. Or whenever you need me." He was like, "Nah, stay." And I'm like, "Stay?" He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What, stay here?" He was like, "Yeah, stay here. I'm about to go to Germany Europe for a week. So when I get back, we'll just get to work." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So at that point, that's when he made me digital marketing director for MMG.
That's a great story. And so there's a lot of takeaways I want to make sure that that I just hash out, and not just for this group, because I know this group knows it, but for the other artists who are going to watch this video in the future.
Right.
You know, the point, I hate to beat a dead horse, but I want to make sure we talk about this stuff. But you had already worked with Dipset. You were already making money as a designer, and yet you still saw an opportunity to build a relationship, and so you sent something out free.
Right.
I know, unfortunately, a lot of rappers, let's say, or music artists are going to reach out to people and say, no, my feature is $200. And they got an opportunity to work with somebody. Or a graphic designer is going to send me something and say, hey, look what I can do for you. And it's got watermarks all over it.
Oh, man.
You know, I charge this, but I'm going to give you a discount like they're doing me a favor.
Right.
And so, you know, it goes back. We talked about this on the last call with Alexi. Gary V, right? Jab. Occasionally you hook, but it's give. That was the first thing that stood out to me in your story. The second thing, and we can dive into this probably in details later, I want to bring out the highlights before I forget them. The relationship, because you created that relationship and served somebody, that extended to Beats relationships, right? You made the introduction to Ross. Then you said in the story, the original one I read was that he made the comment to you, he's MMG, or made the comment to Currency's manager.
Right.
At that point, I would have said, where's my chain? But, you know, you let it go over. But you said the next morning it sunk in when you got a text like 4 a.m.
Right.
And he said, let's work. So that makes me want to talk to you about work ethic side of the industry.
Right.
And we can loop back to that. And then I want to ask this question. You made a trip out to LA to support the team. Sounds like 3 times he said, come to Atlanta and let's connect.
Yeah.
But you didn't the first 2 times link up.
No.
Was that on your dime, your gas money?
Of course.
Okay. So take note, people. And then the fact that he set you down and said, we've got this plan for 2017, 18, I think 19. It sounded like a 2 or 3 year plan.
Right. That's how far he thinks. It's crazy.
Man, that's another topic too we could get into. But let's jump back to work ethic in the industry. If he's texting you at 3 and 4, is that because he gets up early? Is that because he's a workaholic and works all night? Or is that because they're partying? Because I know a lot of young artists get in their mind once they get signed, once they get into a label, that it's nothing but the music videos. It's bottles and models, and the hard part's over. So I want you, from being inside the industry, talk about some of the work ethic. If you've got a story or two of big name artists who almost have to run themselves in the ground, I imagine, to keep up with everything.
I mean, for that, people have this wild like misconception of us as an organization. They feel like, you know, Maybach, we have like a staff like maybe like 1,000 people. In all actuality, there's only 6 of us, and we just all get busy. So our work ethic is like really crazy. So I'm the only one who does what I do for MMG. So yeah, 3, 4 in the morning, that's normal work hours for us. Like, we don't really do the partying thing unless we're getting paid for it. Like, Ross isn't the type to just go out just for the sake of going out, unless that's how he really feels. And that's sometimes like, you know, if you just feel like, all right, cool, we just need a breather. That's like once every blue moon. But beyond that, nah, he's a diehard workaholic. And one of the things about that was, Black, God rest his soul, he told me one time, he was like, listen, if you know, you can never outwork Ross. No one can. But if you can match him just even a quarter of it, you'll be fine. So that's stuck with me. So that's something I've always been like, you know, trying to like pursue after in regards to my work ethic as well. Cause like, we'll probably, you know, take some downtime on a normal day between like maybe like 5 and 7, and then we right back into the mix, right back into the groove. So like it's constant work all day, every day. Even for me, because like as the marketing director, I'm constantly like trying to find like new innovative ways to put out the product. So that becomes a conversation with our our business partners, our DSP partners, different artists, different producers, different managements. And also beyond the marketing side of things, we all wear, multiple hats. So sometimes you'll see me doing all the marketing, then you'll see me doing the A&R stuff, and then you see me doing like the estate management. So it's just different things that we all have going on collectively that that contribute to the bigger picture. But so 3, 4 in the morning, that's the number of work hours. I don't shut down until maybe 5.
Is it? And I won't ask you to name names, but is it fair to say you've probably seen people that have been given a similar opportunity to you? In other words, they've been taken to the house, or they've been brought into the VIP section or in the studio, but because they didn't know how to carry themselves professionally, or they didn't display a work ethic from the get, that they didn't get to come around again?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've seen that. The turnaround is crazy because some people come into the mix, they think, oh, it's all glitz and glamour. They forget about the work that goes into it. So I've seen so many people walk through that door and leave right out that same door. They never came back just for that very thing. I'm talking about like artists and managements, and it's crazy. It's wild. It's really wild.
Because we talk about that a lot, about the work ethic and being a professional and understanding the business and
right. Yeah,
carry yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely important. Understanding everything was going on. Like even for me, right, when I got into position, once we had that conversation, there wasn't like an onboarding process. There wasn't anybody say, hey, like this is what you got to do. This you got to connect with. He basically said, I want you to get it done. And that was that conversation. I was basically just thrown into the ocean to swim. And so yeah, all the relationships and things, I had to like nurture myself. I had to create those myself. And then like everything else just took off from there.
You said Ross plans years in advance.
Yeah.
Now that you're kind of developing your own artist, how long do you think we should have a plan for? Do you try to get them to plan out 3 months, 6 months, a year? And to tie into that, maybe marketing a song, how far in advance do you start planning that single release? And then how long do you guys push it?
There's a conversation that me and Ross had one time. That's also stuck with me. And the conversation was basically about, it's something that he wanted to do. I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm pretty sure we already did it now, but it was something that he wanted to do. And I was like, well, we can do it. We can do it right now. And he was like, no, I don't want to do it right now. I want to do it in 5 years. I was like, what? Like, we can do it right now. He was like, yeah, but just because we can do it now don't mean we have to. It's always cool to have something to work towards. So, that definitely stuck with me. So when it comes down to like everything I have going on with, Crown Music, I use that same psyche and I put that towards everything. When it comes down to like a song, depending on like, if it's like a throwaway, there's no real planning to that. We just do that and throw it out there. If it land, it land. But if it's a single, like we're really going to put some energy towards, the planning process takes about 30 to 45 days. I'm the type where I don't want to just do the traditional rollout where it's like we just focus on the first 3 weeks. Nah, I'm thinking about weeks 4 through 6. And then after that, all right, let's go through 7 through 9, because those are the pivotal weeks, because after the first 3 weeks, that energy dies down. All right, cool, let's have something in motion for, weeks 4 through 9, basically. Like we got to like have everything in place. So that's how I put all the energy that, we do into everything we have going on. Well, not just, us at MMG, but any artist that I'm affiliated with, like, nah, we're going to put out this game plan for like a few months. So even right now, we have artists on Crown Music, and I'm going to give y'all the game on that. His name First C. So instead of doing a traditional, like I said, the 3-week rollout and, flood everybody with a DSP, nah, we're going to put energy towards each individual DSP 1 week at a time. So this week in particular was the week for Tidal. I was already made privy to the fact that Tidal's going to be a part of the whole Team Over Tuesday thing weeks ago. So I was like, cool, let me go ahead and see what we can do as far as getting the artists, a part of that campaign. And that translated into me getting all the artists on my roster, part of that campaign. And, you know, it was just a cool thing just to have them a part of that. Shout out to T-Mobile because they basically, they reposted the content that we put up there. Title definitely supported, Equity definitely supported. So it was a great thing. Engagement went up, I think for each artist, probably like, I want to say on average, it was probably like 85% engagement went up. Streams went up crazy. Title, what was that? They call it viewership, but that's the streaming. That went up crazy on their end as well. So it was a cool thing just to do that cross promotion with them and T-Mobile.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We mentioned relationships.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, would you rather have an artist? Let's say it's an indie artist starting out on his own. He's got $1,000 to spend the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Would you spend that 1,000 and energy on traveling to events and building relationships, or would you spend it on digital marketing?
It depends on what your goals are. If your goal right now is to just be seen and get that product out there, you don't even need the full 1,000 to make a great. I mean, yeah, the 1,000. If you want to put the full 1,000, you can. That'll make a phenomenal impact. But just to break the ice on that, you could probably use like maybe 20% of that and still make a good impact on that. But the thing about that though, you just got to know how to do it, because the way that I do all my campaigns, I don't just do the regular demographics. Oh, we're gonna do people that's age 18 to 30 or male and yada yada yada. Like now, I get real deep into it. I need to understand. That's what I'm gonna jump into as well. All the consumer habits. So one thing I tell every artist too is like you have to understand the difference between your fan base and your consumer base. The fan base, they rock with you. They'll definitely tune into what you got going on. However, the consumer base, they really love you, and they'll do whatever you got going on. They'll buy into it just like this with no questions asked. So those are people you really want to cater to. Once you have a full understanding of who they are, and what I mean by who they are, I'm talking about like you have to pretty much develop what's called a consumer profile, and you're looking to like their buying habits, how they buy, how they spend, how they consume. Those are things that you have to keep in mind. But once you have a full, understanding of that, you'll always win. So even like when you're using Facebook ads, for example, Google ads too, but Facebook ads, that's people have, easy access to that. You can break down, just say like, I want someone who's into X, Y, Z artist who uses Facebook on Safari, who uses an iPhone 8 Plus on Tuesday. You can really get that intricate with Facebook ads. It's amazing. So once you get you fully break into that, you'll win every time.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say it another way just to try to drive the point home to everybody who watches this. So, and I actually had that on my question for you. Break down the difference between fan base and consumer base, because I've heard you say it before.
Yeah, I say it a lot.
And I like it a lot. But to give you an example, you guys, in business talk, customer acquisition, what it costs to get somebody into your sales funnel, into your following,
right,
more expensive than a repeat sale.
Absolutely.
So my wife listens to Rick Ross. I listen to Rick Ross, but she's a fan. If it comes on the radio or on her playlist, she vibes out to it, but she's not spending money to go to a concert. She's not buying a sweatshirt. She's not getting the team sweatshirt, right? I'm a consumer. I'm going to the show. So their money's better spent running ads to me over and over. Even though I'm in the funnel, they're going to get easier spend out of me. And trying to get the attention from people who just happen to like hip hop music.
Right.
Narrowing it really down. So that's a great point. What makes you want to sign or work with an artist now that you're doing this, kind of you have your own label? And I assume you have to like their music, obviously, be a fan. But beyond that, what lights you up? What gets you excited?
To be honest with you, for me, I don't really have to like the music because we can always curate that into something. I'm big on energy. So as long as we have a great vibe, we can have a cool meeting of the minds, like we can make anything happen. The music could definitely get there. Like, you know, we always say, like, the money always come. That's a guarantee. That'll happen. So whatever we need to do to, you know, get to, you know, from point A to point B, we'll get that there. That's not a problem. I mean, but what I do look for a lot though, for it to fully make sense, beyond the music, streaming numbers, of course, social media engagement, likes, followers, following ratio of all those three things. The popularity among the demographics, that's important as well. YouTube views and any like viability.
Okay. Because
for me, because I have my niche is marketing. That's how I think. That's how I view things. So, and oftentimes, and I tell artists this all the time. Oftentimes, the brand will last longer than the music. So, music is timeless. That'll never like expire. However, like people always attach a particular song to the person behind the song. Like anybody can do a song over, but like be like, oh no, I remember when such and such did and he did X, Y, and Z. They remember that everything about that brand. So that's always important. So I put a lot of energy towards that.
Okay. And I love that you said the conversion of not just the streams, but followers.
Right.
And I think sometimes young artists get caught up in that too. And you guys, everyone needs to understand you got to make sure you understand the playlist you're getting on and that you're not buying into one of these companies that does bots and all that. Because just because you've got 1 million streams, every label and every distributor and even anybody that signs up for Chartmetric and Sound Exchange, all these others, they can go in and see that spike and that drop off.
No, I mean, my fault. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, or immediately, I do it all the time. I see somebody's got 1 million streams or 500,000, and then I look and they got 629 followers. I know it ain't real, or it's the worst music ever because they had 1 million opportunities and only 600 people converted.
Right.
So you're not getting over anybody.
Nah, true. Cause like, yeah, we have the software. We can see all of that. So I tell her, like, just make sure it's authentic as possible. And I've seen certain situations too where like, even at Epic, when I'm at Epic all the time, the artists they have me working with, like artists they're bringing into the mix that's new. Most of those artists, they don't even have over like 1,000 followers, but they just believe in the artist enough that like we can really make this something. So don't believe, oh, we have to have, you know, a certain amount of followers to like to really like get a situation. Like, nah, if you have something they can believe in, and that's what it is for me too. If I believe in you, like you can really make the world happen. So yeah, I've seen Epic sign maybe 10 artists in the last year, and they all had less than 2,000 followers.
Okay, then how? How did they, if they didn't have the numbers, how did they get into Epic?
For one, the relationships. Relationships, again, they're everything. And two, just making yourself like, the exposure is everything too. Just make yourself available, visually available. A lot of people do things just for the sake of doing it, but if you're doing things with purpose, as far as like getting the right type of attention, it'll come back to you tenfold.
Relationships. I was hoping that was one of the things you were going to say. Now you've worked with obviously Rick Ross and other big names on big projects.
Right.
Port of Miami too.
I did Port of Miami too. Riley to me. We got a self-made we're working on.
Okay.
I did everything with Fat Trail, Artist Yada. I did championships with Meek. I did Wale Project. Which Wale Project I did? It's Complicated, Stand Power, Shine Project. What else? I did so many.
Yeah.
On the Maybach side. Or Epic, I did 100 Shooters with Future, Meek, and Doughboy. Pose with Gotti. I played a part in the G Herbo Summers Council Project, the Suicide Doors, French Montana. I did that. They have an artist called Loner, LONR. I did what is it called? AM. I think that's what they're called. But I did that project too. He's one of those artists too. They call him early. He didn't even have like a blue check or nothing. He was a regular kid from the West Coast. And they signed him early, like like less than like 2,000 followers too. And now he's priority for that. He just dropped a song with her. That was crazy. He's been there for what, maybe like a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So what's the key difference? So working on, let's say, Port of Miami 2 versus you've got a young guy now signed from Lexington, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah, Lexington.
I think it's Lexington. I'm a Cincinnati boy, so when I saw Lexington, it jumped out.
Oh yeah. He's definitely Lex. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Lex. Yeah.
It's almost a suburb of Cincinnati. But sitting down to work on some bid project, obviously budget, but versus an indie smaller project or a younger artist project, what's kind of a key difference between the, I just wonder, do we make a mistake sometimes of trying to imitate what the big guys do when we don't have the budgets to do that? Is there another approach we should be taking?
The approach with him, for me, is pace. He's not ready for that like Maybach rollout yet. The budget isn't the issue because you don't really need the budget, just the right relationships. Because I can call Audio Mac and say, hey, I want to see if we can get him on X, Y, Z playlist, and they'll do that for me. Or I can call Title like, hey, I want to get him on this playlist, and they'll do that for me. Or whatever initiatives you guys have going on, I want them a part of that. They'll do that. So relationships, they'll definitely get me way further than any budget for real. I have like a wide collection of like DJs I can just tap into anytime if I want to record play in any club. So the relationships are definitely key. So yeah, but for him, it's all about pacing. Cause like even just now, we got the thing last night. He just started trending on Audio Mac, which is great. And his name first C, by the way, for everybody else. And even with him now, we're in a position just like, just testing things out just to understand who his consumers really are. Because he didn't have a full understanding of that coming to the gate. But the most viewed video that he has on YouTube right now is 2.9 thousand over the course of like a year. We're already at 2.3 in a week. So that's kind of cool just to see like, all right, we're doing everything right for him. So now we can ramp it up so we can take things to a higher degree.
And uncovering who his consumer is, you're just pulling that from the data, the back end data?
Yeah, just back end data. Yeah. Because the people in Kentucky, they spend different. they spend real different. But one thing I love about the people in Kentucky, they're real prideful. And what I mean by that is that they take real pride in people who's from the area and everything they have going on from the area. So they'll tap into whatever's going on. So just trying to get a full understanding of like that whole grassroots thing with them. We just tap into that more. It's been working in our favor.
Yeah. Jack Harlow and one of his songs, he mentions Big Red, the soda pop.
Oh yeah.
Explaining what and being a Cincinnati guy, I'm like, oh, I mean, that's so connected with me. Whenever I go West Coast or some different places, they don't know that's our hillbilly thing.
That's he told me about it too. They told me about, and there's some type of potato chip they told me about out there. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Rippos.
Yeah, that's what it is, yup. So and the crazy thing about it, Fred, he's also in the same circle as Jack Harlow. So that's made the conversation even greater for me. His videographer, Brian Campbell, they share the same videographer. They have the same mutual friends. So like they're in this that is really dope. So Jack, he also follows on the ground too, but he reached out a couple of times. Like once things get a little more, we'll see what we do to work together. So it'll be fun. I'll make that happen.
Big Red, do you have a question? I saw you with your hand up. Unmute yourself if you got a question.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, you basically asked almost all of the questions that I had for him, but one of the last things that you mentioned was DJs. When we began our journey, one of the things that we said that we were going to reach out to as many DJs and interconnect with as many DJs as possible.
Right.
So one of the things that's really stuck is with internet, we call internet DJs and internet radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
how do you see, or how does the industry, do they value that those DJs? 'Cause I know that those DJs can also be club DJs, they can also be radio DJs, so on, so forth. So what is the value that for a indie artist or indie label? What is that value that you see in that?
Nah, so that's a great question too. So my background, so when I first started this whole industry thing, I started off as a mixtape DJ before I, made the conversion over to a designer, and then who I am now. So I make sure that we put a lot of like energy towards DJs anyway. But the value for those DJs, they're definitely vital. They definitely are part of like every campaign that I've seen, and including my own. The thing about it is that some DJs just their business isn't all the way together, so that makes it kind of difficult for us when it comes down to like trending numbers and tracking numbers. But beyond that, they have the same role as a DJ that's on the radio, on the P1 radio. So as long as the business is in order, then that just makes the work and the relationship just a flawless thing. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So what you're saying is pick a DJ group that works better, works harder for an artist than one that may not. Because I've heard the same thing that you just said. Some DJs are basically lazy, right? And don't put it. They don't put in the work for themselves, And then how are they gonna? If you're gonna network with them, support them, then they're really that value is really not there.
I mean, sometimes even with anything, you just gotta do something like their job for them in a sense, right? So of course, you want to make sure you have your DJ pack, which is for whoever don't know, there's the explicit version, the clean version, and the instrumental. But go that extra distance by providing them with like the custom drop, or like the custom version of the record with the DJ name in it. They're more inclined to play those records than just having just the regular record by itself. So you got to give them some type of incentive for them to work with, and then beyond that, like they'll do whatever you need them to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So the DJ definitely, no matter what end of the spectrum the DJ is on, they have value, like extreme value, especially to us. And again, not even just for the Maybach, but also what I'm doing with crowd music. Like the DJs definitely have value. So I always make sure like to tap in with them just to see if they need anything from me. Like, yo, we need some fresh drops. You need some type of connection to something. Like, what can I do for you? So that's how the relationship, between me and the DJs I have, like that's so, so grand.
And just to add to that too, so we're talking right now, Red, to some internet radio DJs, and for a couple reasons. Number one, they got some decent numbers. I went and looked at them, but they're doing the charge for interview and charge to play, right?
Right.
But you got to know your business. So I looked at what they wanted to charge me, and I went and looked at their numbers. How many people are following their station? How many views are they getting on their videos? And I said, I hear what you're saying, but the average CPM rate is this, and I'm not paying you that. So if you'll come and meet me at what the industry standard is, I'll gladly pay for it. And the other thing is, I want my guys to get out there and do 10 low-key internet radio interviews and podcast interviews and get it out their system, because they're probably going to jack up the first 10 and they need to listen to it afterwards and hear themselves and say, oh, I should have answered this way. I should have been more lively. I shouldn't have been so high, whatever their deal is, and get it out of their system on some, and I don't mean to insult those people, but you can do some what we might call throwaway interviews. Get their practices.
Yeah, we did that with Nate Savage, because when he started, he was like 15, 16 years old. So that's one of the first things that we did, was get him in front of the camera and make sure that he was understood and saw himself first. He's got to be able to see himself and work himself, and then go back and, like you just said, just redo. And we've done, then from there, we've done a bunch of radio interviews, and then we've done a bunch of just telephone interviews over the phone too. So yeah.
Good stuff. So Kasim, I got one more question, and then I'm going to let everybody ask their one question. So you've already mentioned so with Fred, you went in and taught him how to figure out who his consumer base is. Now you're marketing to them. The numbers are getting better. But with a brand new artist, anything else that you would add when you sit down with them in the very beginning? I mean, what's one of the first things you do, or first or second thing we should be doing with our new artist or as a new artist?
Yeah, I ask everybody the same question. Like, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Like, what is the end goal for you? I know, being successful is like the overall goal, but beyond that, what are you really trying to accomplish? And then whatever their answer is, we set our sights to that. There's this book that I'm reading called Principles by Ray Diallo. And in that book, he was saying how there's a lot of focus on people just thinking about, oh, we just got to get from point A to point B. But in all actuality, we just have to focus on the middle. Like, what's the process? What does it take to get there? And so that's what it is for me. Like, we need to understand, like, all right, if you want to get this, all right, cool. What does it look like to get to that point? And we, strategize everything around that. Like, even for my other artist, Shice, when I signed Shice, we had that same question in the projects in Harlem at the basketball court. And he was like, nah, I have this movie that I want to put out. I shot it like a year ago. This was last year. I shot it a year ago, but we did a release at Black Ink, but I just want to put it out bigger. So I'm like, cool. Like, that's what you want to do? Like, we'll get it done. And so was it last week? I started a whole new film company just to release that movie. So that movie will be out on Amazon Prime in like the next few weeks. So yeah, so it's a process because we had to make sure that everything else is in place to get that done. Because even with that, it was just a lot. I didn't even know too much about like having to make sure you had to pay your international taxes and all that just for just one thing. But yeah, we got it done though.
So taking the big goal and reverse engineering it into little steps, eventually lead there. I break it down sometimes. It's like getting your black belt, right? So you don't start out thinking, man, get me to that black belt. That's not what your first goal is, that yellow belt.
Yellow belt, right.
And then you're trying to get to purple. Then you're trying to get to
right.
There's levels, right?
It's levels to everything.
Yeah.
And the same token, like, you also got to, like, I said earlier, you have to move with precision. Like, for me, I knew exactly who I needed to talk to get certain things done. If you're trying to make any type of move or any type of company, you don't just want to talk to the CEO of that company. The CEO, they don't really do nothing but just sign off on shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool and all, but the person who really makes decisions for the company is the marketing director, because they control the brand. So if you're trying to make any type of things happen with any type of company, any type of brand, like, talk to the guy who handles the marketing. That's who we need to get it done. So that's how I operate with everything. So like, even when it comes down to like playlisting, I don't just want to talk to the guy who's just pushing the button. Like, who's the actual like head of editorial? Let me get in touch with that guy, and then we can have that conversation. We just go from there. And even still, the marketing guy will still be the same guy I tap into first, and they'll guide me to whoever I need to, because they all work collectively. Everybody works in tandem to get the thing done.
Yeah, and I've said that to people too. That I know a lot of times we run to these clubs, these local shows, and there's an artist blowing up, and as an artist, they're trying to meet that other artist and get a picture with them and say, hey, let's collab. How can we work? But the whole time, their manager and a couple other people are standing 10 feet away. Nobody's taking pictures with them. They're playing on their cell phone, and you miss the golden opportunity.
Yeah, you missed that. Yeah, because I tell artists too, like having the DJs in your corner is definitely like key. However, they don't really call the shots when you're trying to do things on radio. You need to really have that relationship with the program directors or the music directors, because those are just people who really make those decisions. So have those relationships are key. So just know who to talk to get things done the right way. That's everything.
All right, man, this is awesome. I'm taking notes. Even though I'm recording, I'll get to watch it again. Hey, Jace, let's start with you, brother. You unmute yourself, and just a quick introduction. Let the team know who you are, and then whatever question you got for him.
Awesome. Can you hear me? Awesome. Sounds good. Hey, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Everything you're saying is it's incredible. I love the story, all that. My name's Julius Say. I'm from Anderson, South Carolina. It's a small little city, and I'm a recording artist. I got my own little setup at my house, and my genre is kind of weird. It's like pop R&B almost, but no, everything you basically asked all my questions, Scott. I'm not gonna lie, but there is something I really wanted to dive deep into though. I notice a lot about budgets and stuff like that, but what I want to know most is, let's say I have a budget, like it's super small, I'm up and coming artist.
Mhm.
What should I focus my money into specifically? What are the things that I should, okay, I need to put this money right here. I need to put my money right here. I need to put this here. Like what is that stuff that I should focus on when I'm coming up?
I would definitely, say the same, digital. There was a study I read when I was looking at this, like maybe 2 years ago.
Mhm.
They say that 98% of the world's population has one or two apps on their phone, either it's Facebook or Instagram or both.
Okay.
So right now they corner the market as far as social media. So I would definitely put a lot of energy into that. The cool thing about it is that with Facebook, if you utilize Facebook as that app, you can promote on Facebook and Instagram at the exact same time. So you don't have to worry about just wasteful spending. As long as you know who your target is, like you'll be fine after that. But yeah, just put it towards digital. Like even for SC with that same single we just released, we just did a campaign just the other day. We spent $8 and touched 30,000 people.
Wow. That is incredible. That is
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying? So
Yeah.
it's all about just know exactly who
Mm.
to target, and the who and the how. So you definitely want to make sure you understand who how they spend it, how they consume. Definitely, but yeah, $8 was like 30,000 people. I'm like, all right, that's lit.
But when you're building that following and stuff like that, how do you kind of just start picking up on who's liking this and who's liking that? Because when
Um,
you're building it, it's kind of hard to tell,
yeah. I mean, it's gonna always be like a testing thing.
Mm.
It's gonna be trial and error a lot when it comes to that. That's the process of it, especially when you're trying to build it.
Yeah.
Even for myself with him, we're basically both my artists, because I mean we have an idea,
Uh-huh.
but until we get certain numbers back, then it's like, all right, cool. Then they're spending more here than here, and we can allocate more towards this area of the arena than the other. So yeah, it's going to be like a trial and everything. You like the numbers will tell you everything you need to know. Like utilizing that the insights on IG, definitely get that the Facebook Pages app, because they break down analytics in there as well. Analytics from Apple Music, Spotify, and Amazon for artists. Like you get the data from all that, compile it together, select the average from those collectively. You get all the answers you need.
All right,
That's
thank
how I do it. So I'll take all the information that I see from Facebook, IG, Twitter, because people don't know you can get insights from Twitter as well. Twitter, and I take all from the DSPs. Because the only person that don't provide data is Tidal, but everybody else, I get all the data and I just average them all out.
Okay.
So all right, cool. So whoever piece of the most, that's who the target is.
Okay.
And then we just go from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really, really, really do appreciate it, man. That means a
I
lot.
appreciate you.
All right, I'm gonna get off.
And Jay, like we said, I think on the call with Alexi too, is there's no wasted money in marketing as long as you keep the data and track it.
Right.
You just paid for something that you realize, okay, they don't like it. That's fine. Now I can exclude them. I didn't waste the money.
Nice.
It's always an investment. And the other thing is, the data. This goes back to, and I'm probably harping on this, but I see so much of it. The bots and the fake playlists and all that crap, that dirties your data. You got to have clean data. If you've got all this stuff and then all of a sudden you got all these streams from Russia, man, you think you could sell out a tour in Russia, but really it was bots. And those bots also were listening to bluegrass. So now Spotify tries to show you your music to people who listen to bluegrass because that playlist had bluegrass in it too. Now you're really screwed, and it's going to take a long time to sort out and get to some clean data. So don't take shortcuts, guys.
Yeah, don't take the shortcuts at all. I don't recommend using the bots. I mean, they are helpful when you're doing like automated things like messaging, like Facebook messaging. They're good for that. But beyond that, like, nah, because all the the platforms and all the DSPs, they're cracking down on that. So that's why you'll see, you'll have an artist who has like millions of followers one day, next thing you know, they have like 1,000 and some change. Like, so now that you'll never know when they're gonna do an audit. So you don't ever want to be on that receiving end of that audit, in a negative light, because it's embarrassing. We've seen too many artists like that, major artists at that. And I'm like, oh, dang, bro, we looking crazy out here. So yeah, definitely all stay away from that as much as you can.
And if you're through a major distributor and something bad happens, you got at least somebody to go in and talk to and try to fight for your artist. But if you guys are uploading through DistroKid, CD Baby, or whatever, and Spotify catches that, they'll pull your whole music down, your catalog.
Yeah, they pull it.
You're done.
Even the majors will pull you. The majors, because they don't want any prices. That's bad. That's bad press. Like, to know that they have an artist signed to them who's using like fake anything, is bad press. So yeah, they'll step away from that. Some, depending on where you are in the spectrum, they'll fight. But beyond that, like, nah, they'll go ahead and let that go.
Alec.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm a hip hop manager out of Fort Worth, Texas. I just have 2 artists right now, one down here in Fort Worth and one in New York, where I went to college. I just graduated a year ago, 3 days ago. Thank you.
You just went mute.
I just muted myself on accident. Thank you for all the information. First off, last summer I was kind of dabbling around with Station Head, and then I saw you were starting a radio station on there. So, right. And then was it Big Red was talking about internet radio DJs and stuff. So, do you think like we should really be focusing on that? Because I feel like that's such an untapped market. Like, not many people are. Well, I've never talked to anybody who's focused on internet radio before Big Red. So, like, do you think that we should push more there rather than these radio DJs who are only going to focus on NBA YoungBoy and, like, major artists where we wouldn't have a chance? Or
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
All right, cool.
Or question mark.
No, I love this question because I get to talk about a cool product. So the climate right now, traditional radio is changing in a crazy way. Even just like before the Corona took place, even last year, iHeart was already cutting. They were scaling back and doing massive cuts. So a lot of I think it was like over 100,000 DJs lost their jobs at the radio stations. They're moving on to a situation where everything's coming from the top down. So they have a certain playlist that everyone has to pretty much abide by now. So if you don't have that relationship with iHeart already, it's going to be kind of hard to break into traditional radio. iHeart, they have their headquarters in DC, so I'm always up there a lot, just pitching music. They're the ones who make the decisions now. But online radio, internet radio will always be king. I feel like, in my opinion, they'll be king. Because I've been a big advocate of satellite radio for the longest. When I found out about Station Head when they first started launched, this was maybe 2017, and I believed in it right off the rip. How Station Head work, if anyone doesn't know, every stream counts. So they pull all the music from Spotify or Apple Music, whatever one you prefer. So let's say I have a station and I have 1,000 people tuned into my station, right? So in traditional radio, that one record gets played, and that's considered that one spin, and it's counted. Whereas with Station Head, instead of it just being that one stream, it's now 1,000 streams.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I thought it was just wow.
That's what
so it's however many viewers that DJ has, right? That's however many streams. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be focusing on that a lot more.
Yeah. So Station Head is definitely the vibe right now.
So can we submit to Crown Radio?
Yeah, of course. As long as the music is on either Apple Music or Spotify, yeah, send it to me.
How do we submit to that?
I'm gonna put my email address in the chat.
Okay, bet. Appreciate that.
As long as it's on there, then yeah, because I'm gonna launch it June 4th.
Yeah, so I saw it on Instagram. That's how I got my my question, but
Oh, dope. Yeah, Station Head is phenomenal. Like I've been telling everybody about Station Head since they first came out. Even
been slacking for a year.
bro, like you need to get into this. Like you need to start your own station. Because he was telling me, he was like, bro, I just want to like have my own station without having to worry about like dealing with the station down here in Miami. And I was like, man, you need to get on Station Head. Like, what are you talking about? Like this is gonna be the next wave. And they took off. So like the cool thing about the platform is that you basically will have a radio station right from your cell phone. You don't need anything, just your cell phone. And there's a whole like live chat portion of it as well. It's a really dope app for real. If you tap into it, you'll see it's really dope. So yeah, I definitely recommend any artist that's trying to break into like radio, like yeah, Station Head is definitely the way. Even the labels now, they're now like having their own Station Head channels because they know those streams count. So I think Columbia, they're at the top, on the top of the list right now.
Yeah, going by how many viewers, that's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, it counts individually as one overall, one blanket stream. So it's amazing.
Appreciate that.
Nah, no problem at all, man.
Lexi, you got a question?
Yes, I do. Thanks, Scott, for having me, and thank you, Kasim, for all of the advice you've given so far. So I'm Alexia. I'm the CEO of a global music media company based in New York City. And my question is, what are some good goals for aspiring artists to have? So if an artist is just starting out, they have maybe a couple thousand streams, or maybe even up to 60,000 streams. What are some really solid goals that they can set for themselves?
The best goals anyone can have are realistic goals. Anything is possible as long as you know how to, accomplish that. I'm always speaking to like, chasing versus pursuing. I never chase anything because to chase is more so for the thrill. When you're pursuing something, you know it's yours. You just got to go get it. So that's one thing that I pretty much put a lot of focus on. So the goal could be anything. That's what I was saying. Like with my artist Shice, like his goal was to just get one of the movies out. All right, cool. We can figure out how to get it done. We got it done. So yeah, just having that game plan, just a realistic game plan that you'll never lose with that.
Do you think that they should be focusing more so? Because a lot of artists, when they're first starting off, they usually are focusing on getting thousands and thousands of followers. If, say, an artist were, I'm thinking of one artist, Chris Carter, who's on here, who has had thousands of streams already on Spotify. So he's had maybe 19,000 streams, 20,000 streams on Spotify, but has about 1,200 followers. What's a good goal for someone in that space for, say, the next year? Should they be shooting for maybe 1 million streams in the next year, or should they be shooting for taking 10,000 followers within the next year? What's something that they could focus on?
I would break down the goal. Like we do a 10,000 mark on the streams, and then we do a 25,000 mark, and then we do 100,000. Because that way you'll put together a proper game plan for each step. That's definitely one thing I always recommend. It's like break it down in stages. So all right, cool. Our goal here, our target goal for the month is 10,000. Let's see what it's going to take to get to that 10,000. Form the game plan. All right, cool. Go from there because the followers will definitely come regardless. But as long as you have the proper game plan in place, everything will definitely work out exactly how it needs to.
Cool, thank you. I was thinking of that for Chris Carter because he and I are working together.
Oh, dope. Yeah, just break it down in stages because you can't lose like that. Because that's how I recommend that all the time as well. Just break everything down in stages. Like even now with Fred, all right, cool. We know his peak is at 2.9K on YouTube. All right, let's try to break that. So we're on track to break that this week. So all right, after that, all right, cool. Now we're gonna double that for the next month, and then triple that. So after that, so that's how we're going about it.
Cool, thank you.
No problem.
So Chris, let's just move to you since we're already talking about you.
So I was wondering, so I'm using ads like Google and Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, but it's not really like for the most part, I do get like a really decent following from it, but it doesn't really like, people will come and, listen to it, tap in, comment, hit me up in the inbox, but they still won't follow. Like, how do I change that? Because that's like,
The conversion rate.
yeah, like I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go comment and like it and then like tell me it's good, you might as well tap in and follow. Like you already there. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. The conversion that's kind of tricky because not everybody converts for the same reason. You just have to basically like give them an incentive to to follow. I would tell everybody as well, like the experience is everything. So what experience are they going to get from following you? Will they receive like exclusive content? They get like some behind the scenes type of thing. Like what are they getting from that follow? As long as you give them incentive, like you'll never lose on that level.
okay.
Because the conversion, because like I said, everybody converts for various reasons. If they really tapped into it, like I say, they're just more than just fans. They'll convert over easy, but you still have to give some type of incentive for them to follow you.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Because I like what I post a lot of videos. I don't know if that necessarily helps, but I post a lot of me just chilling, vibing kind of videos, trying to bring people over. But
the best content to have on like any social media platform is lifestyle content. So that's like content of you in your everyday. I recommend that because people want to like I say, experience everything. People want to be a part of everything you have going on.
yeah, facts.
Yeah, so
they're more personal.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, have that type of content on deck. You can do that same thing with videos too, but you don't want to just be like point and shoot.
Yeah,
it has to look like a movie damn near for them to really be involved in it.
Well, because I mean, with my videos, it's more like raw and like in the moment kind of videos. You know what I mean? That's like I try to like make it more personal that way. You know what I'm saying? Instead of making it seem like I had to get like super dressed and we had to like get like three people, 3 different angles. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, even with I have a couple shooters, but one in particular, you would think we had a full production crew out there. It's that nice, but yeah, just like have it clean footage, clean concise footage. Like you'll never lose on that level. I have I'm gonna send it to Scott. He'll send it out to everybody. It's one video that we did for Ross. A few actually. We never put it out. I sent it to him to share with you guys. Just have an example of what I'm talking about.
I bet.
Yeah. So yeah. Once you have that type of content, yeah, they'll convert easy from there.
Boy, I feel like it's Christmas. I'm about to get a Rick Ross video that was never put out.
I mean, at least it's not the one where he jumps out of the highway trying to get off this speeding ticket.
For speed?
Look, bro, like it was funny, but like a speeding ticket.
That was on the video speeding. So any moment like that, we take full advantage of. Yeah. So what I use TweetDeck. So TweetDeck allows me to be a part of the conversation real time. So with TweetDeck, I have Ross account, Meek's account, Wale's, Gunplay's. So I can see who's talking about what and when. And that way we can stay ahead of certain situations or meet certain things that's out right now. So when that came out, I was like, nah, this is a good time to put some music out. So I just threw some links out. So that increased our strength. So any type of viral thing that happens, I throw it out there. One other tool that you guys can use too when it comes to putting campaigns is it's called Show. The website is show.co. They have it broken down in tiers where you can advertise on like all the major like media outlets for like music. So we're talking Billboard, Elevator, all that. So those ads that you see on the top banner, most of those, I would say like 96, 97% of those come from show.co. So if you use that, I think you have to have a budget like $50 to get the bigger high tier blogs, but you can do like a 10 or 10 and you'll still get that same effect. It's amazing. I use it a lot.
All right. Jermaine, what's going on, buddy? You got any questions?
Okay, can you hear me? Oh, I think I muted you. Hold on.
I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, I'm Jermaine. Basically, I run TV Smack Talk Media. I'm not an artist, but I do have two artist-related questions. So one, I listen to a lot of Gary Vee content, and he's on this kick where artists should put out, if it was up to him, an artist would put out something new like every day, or at least every week.
Right.
And he feels like if an artist puts out a bad song, that it won't ruin their reputation. And I want to get your thoughts about that. So like if an artist was kind of putting out material every week, and then like 3 weeks in a row, it was sort of crap, would that hurt the artist in your opinion?
In this climate, no, because everyone they're looking to be entertained in some form or fashion.
Right.
So
Okay.
they're not gonna have trash music and great content, and they'll still win just because they have great content. So people will be attracted more to the content than the music, but that'll translate easier to the music because that's all he's pumping out there. So yeah, it's an easy win on that.
Yeah, that's good to know. And hopefully artists are listening, and like it gives them the confidence to put out more material. Because I think, you know, as a content supplier myself, I think more material wins. I just didn't know if garbage material would actually hurt. And then my second is if in today's, and again, everything is in today's environment because it changes so rapidly.
Right.
If you have artists that were basically the same talent, what do you see as the determining factor of one artist being more successful than the other? You know, is it tenacity? Is it putting out more content? Is it connections? Like from your opinion, what starts to separate those who succeed from those who just make it a hobby?
The work ethic. You gotta think about it. There will be pretty much like a million people trying to do the exact same thing you're trying to do. What's gonna make you different than those million people? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, that work ethic. I work everything. That's what separates everybody from the rest, honestly. Because like it's a million people, like I said, trying to do the same thing. But how many people do you know that's up like 3, 4 in the morning actually getting work done? The same people up 3, 4 in the morning in the club, they're not doing the same. They're not gonna get the same results compared to the person at 3, 4 in the morning at the studio actually getting that work done. So they got to work harder. You know what I'm saying, to get that done. Because there's something that I have read just a while ago, and it was saying something to the fact that a person working 40 hours has to work 1,000 hours to basically like match a person who's working for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Cause like, for me, like this is my everything. So I got to, so even beyond like the Maybach checks, I still get my own. I still got to get out and hustle. So yeah, so I got to put that work in regardless. So.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. That's all I had, Scott.
It's the old saying that entrepreneurs work 100 hours a week to get out of working a 40-hour-a-week job.
Yeah, facts.
That's the escape. All right, Trav, you want to go next?
Hi, my name's Travis. I'm a singer-songwriter. I play a lot of instruments. So this is amazing. I wrote down 6 questions last night, and they were all answered. I have I guess I wanted to go back to like my first question I wrote down, and it was a question about like artist backlog, and it was actually the first thing we started talking about. It was like Rick Ross, he's thinking years in advance, like, and is that just planning, or is this content he's already created and he's planning on releasing? Like, how much content should an artist sit on before they start steadily releasing things?
I would tell artists to have at least 1,000 photos a month, because you'll run through that fast. If you're posting constantly, like you'll run through 1,000 photos like quick. So at least 1,000 a month. In regards to that, visuals, that's contingent upon you and what you have going out. If you want to have like visual content to complement like the photos, then that's great as well. But yeah, it's pretty much contingent upon what you have going on. Like I see a lot of artists too, like they'll post a lot of content and then delete the whole thing. and then post new. Like, don't ever do that. Like, you probably don't know how to do it. Because what that does, it messes up the analytics. So you never want to do that. So if you want to take something off your page, just archive it. So don't just delete it. So yeah. So content is definitely everything. Hold on for one quick second. I have to go grab my my charger real quick.
Okay.
One of the other things, and I don't know why everybody's doing this, but so I've noticed there's this trend where everybody's taking their Instagram and archiving everything and leaving up like 3 or 4 pictures or 8 pictures. And I think the mentality is you're thinking it's some type of social proof, right? You've got 10 or 20,000 followers, but you only got these 3 or 4 pictures. Like, it creates scarcity. But here's the backfire that I don't think people are thinking about. You get rewarded by the algorithm the more time people spend on your page or on your post. So if somebody comes to your page and they've got 1,200 pictures to scroll through and they're interested in finding more about you, the fact that you kept them on Instagram longer, Instagram rewards you. When they pop over and you got 4 pictures and then one glance they can see it all and it's, oh, I saw that last week, then they jump off. Now Instagram says the content's no good. The landing page, the time that somebody spends on your page is limited. So the more content you have up there, the Instagram is going to reward you. That's another reason right now a big trick is carousels. So creating a carousel with 10 slide overs, right? So you ask a question, then you start to answer it, then you show some. Guess what happened? Somebody stays on this post longer. The algorithm says, oh, this must be good content. People are viewing it longer. Let's reward everybody. And they shows it to more people organically. So don't be taking your stuff down. You need to have more content up.
Yeah, that's definitely correct. Because everyone loves a story. So having that content just adds to the story.
Yeah.
And one thing about that, the Instagram algorithm, like, it has evolved, and at this final point, it's not going to change anytime soon. So at one point it was all about chronological order, and then it switched over to like based. So now it's all AI. So just like Scott was saying, so the more time people spend on your content, the greater it is for the algorithm. Because even now, like, I follow 1,000 something people, and I only see 50. And Instagram will show you the top 50 people that you'll see, and the least 50 people that you interact with. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you have that content. I know for a fact I suck at that because I'm so busy working, so I try my best to add content when I can. But yeah, content is definitely everything.
All right, D Wilson, you're up the bat.
Yes, sir. All right, how you doing? How y'all doing? I appreciate all the information that was given. My name is Demetrius Wilson. Of course, I'm a gospel rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, as a new artist, how should I approach marketing? Should I because it seems like when I get to the marketing part, I always freeze up, I guess, because I don't know which one or which way to go first.
Yeah.
Should I focus on my fan base first, building it up, or what type of advice would you have me on that?
That gospel market is real serious, man. That's one of the only genres in music that is real cutthroat. You would think that because it's gospel, it's it's cool and it's clean. Nah, it's wild over there. But yeah, it's crazy because they're all competing to pretty much get that same message out. I get it, but at the same time, them people, they're wild. But but yeah, the same thing we were talking about earlier. You just have to understand who your consumers are.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be like, all right, cool. We have this is gospel music. It should be easily absorbed. But look at an artist like Lecrae.
Yeah.
Took Lecrae a while to really get to where he's at right now.
Yeah.
They just had to do a complete 360 on their approach to it. Because there's so many different sectors of just the denomination of Christianity anyway. But as long as you tap into who really how can I say, relates to who you are as an artist and relates to your music the most, that's who you're cater your marketing to, and then you'll see that conversion of the fans as you go along.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that difficult, honestly. That market is definitely one of the harder markets, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
All right, Big Red. I'm gonna give you one more because I like you so much, man.
Now I'm here. Whatever question anybody have, I'm here.
Yeah, I really appreciate that because you and I vibe from the very beginning there, Scott. Like I said, ever since Nate introduced me to you, it was from then on we were vibing.
It's the white and the beards.
Yeah, that's what it is. But you know, in the beginning, I didn't introduce myself properly. I'm Big Red with Big Red Entertainment. I started this label back in 2004, 2005, and just kind of like dumped it till my kids grew up until they were ready to begin their musical journey, what they're on now. My oldest son, Red Bangs, he's a producer. Nate Savage, he's the artist, writer. And this was one of the questions I wanted to ask earlier, Kasim, because as a small label, you tend to do everything, right? And when you try to reach out and you try to get help from others, it's still difficult trying to find the right person, right? So what are some of the, what advice would you give for a small label that is doing everything? They're doing the management, they're getting IRC codes in, they're doing copyrights, they're doing their own marketing, you know, they're just everything about it. You know, how do you say, okay, take a step back, look at it and revise, because we try to do this every year, right? We try to take it and redo what we've done, or try not to do some of the mistakes that we made the year before and redo what we did that was good, or try to improve on.
Yeah. In business, and it's just saying, like, you know, never change the dream, change the team. You just got to make sure that there's people around you that complement the bigger picture. Yeah, you want everybody, you know, to succeed with you. You know, like the great Nipsey say, everybody can't go. So you got to have people around you that fits that big picture. That, you know, that's what they're all about. Even for myself, the team I have with me now for Crown, like they're great. It took a while for them to get there, but they're great. I can do everything on my own because I've been groomed to do that. And just working with Ross. And oftentimes I find myself doing damn near everything on my own. So you'll find me 6 o'clock in the morning still sending emails out, pitching music to different like playlisters, still thinking different concepts as far as the marketing, still thinking different ideas as far as on the marketing side, the promotion side, still pitching music to A&Rs. I do that every day. That's a constant thing for me. So you'll find yourself in that position. But at the same token, you still need to make sure you have people around you that, you know, that fits the overall grand scheme of the bigger picture.
Okay.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing like, you know, doing it yourself, because I'm a hands-on guy, so I already know what that is.
Yeah, I found that some of the things that when we talk to different people, such as yourself, we've done a lot of those things. And I think that we're sometimes out of order, maybe out of order sometimes. I think Scott earlier talked about, well, maybe we do, small labels try to do what large labels try to do, but you don't have the budget to do that, right? And you can really get yourself out of whack financially if you try to do that, try to follow the big boys. So
yeah, you can. There's always a to the B, and also vice versa. So like when it comes down, and I always tell people the same, like for me personally, I know I always wanted to break that stigma that, you know, people like myself who's in the industry where I'm in, like we can't, you know, be reached. Like, nah, you can reach out to me, DM me, whatever. Like we'll have that conversation. I don't mind. And there's thousands more just like me who will have that conversation. Approach is everything, of course, but I wouldn't say just like randomly slide into somebody's DM, especially on the professional level of this magnitude. But what I would say, use LinkedIn. So I use LinkedIn for everything. That's how I end up getting in touch with the people over at Rockstar Games. So we have a working relationship now. The people over at 2K Sports, we have a working relationship now. And all that came from LinkedIn. Just connecting with them there, send them a message. Everybody uses that. And the cool thing about it is that everyone in the industry, they damn near know each other. So yeah, use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is definitely a great tool. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I think that probably would be it. Yeah. Cause like honestly, like LinkedIn, you'll get a lot more comes to LinkedIn than you would like Facebook, Instagram. As long as you know like exactly what your goals are, exactly how you want to get it done, you'll find the right person to tap into. Use LinkedIn. You'll be good from there.
Okay. Appreciate that.
No problem at all.
Well, guys, I think that's it. We've taken up enough of Kasim's time. He's been more than generous with an hour and a half.
I'm good. Whatever anybody need, I'm here.
Man, that's great. We're really grateful for it. And Red, if you haven't, Alexis on my Instagram, I'd recommend you follow her and connect with her. She's a music industry plug. A lot of the people in this room are on here because of her. And she's already been a real blessing in the few weeks I've been able to interact with her. So definitely connect with her.
How do we do that, Alexi? What is the you already got it in there? Okay.
I'll leave my information in the chat for everybody.
Okay.
Thank you for the shout out.
Sorry, I hope that was okay.
Can we get a screen?
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
Scott, can we get a screenshot of this, man?
Yeah,
screenshot on here.
There'll be a recording.
Okay.
And I'll message you her info too.
Okay.
Hi, I just want to say thank you again before we get off. Thank you.
Well, you're more than welcome, man. Appreciate you coming through, being part of this, all of you.
Oh, also, if there are any producers, sync licensing is real big right now. A lot of brands are cutting massive checks just like for music. They don't want to deal with the whole back end royalties and all that right now. So they're cutting massive checks on the sync side of things. So definitely tap into the directors, the sound directors, music directors, audio directors, and for any brand, and get those placements in.
I'm putting together some information for a young lady who was on our call last week. I think a friend of Alexis, and about sync. And is there any resource you would recommend I make sure I look at for her?
For sync?
So an artist can understand how to appropriately go about that?
I'll have to double back with you on that. I didn't know who to talk to. Because even with 2K, we have a placement for the next 2K game that's coming out. That, like I said, that just came from just reaching out to the guy on LinkedIn.
Okay.
That conversation.
All right.
Could I ask one more question really quickly?
For $1.
I'll send you 8. Kasim, I was just wondering, do you have any thoughts on where the music industry is headed? So I know a lot of people are worried about what's going on with COVID-19, and people are just trying to come up with some innovative ways to stand out amongst the crowd, especially nowadays. I mean, when we were younger, we were using different kinds of technology we were using CDs and tapes in order to hear or listen to music. And now with all of these streaming platforms, there's so much competition. Do you think that there are any ways that people can stand out, or do you have any ideas of new innovative ways that people can stand out? Because I'm thinking like Travis Scott and Marshmello just did, what was it, a Fortnite concert, and not everyone has access to that kind of stuff. Do you have any thoughts about where the music industry is headed in regards to like new innovative ideas or ways that people could stand out among the crowd?
Me and Sam Sneak, we have this conversation every week because there's always new data that's coming out. But just like you saying that the whole like Travis Scott Fortnite thing, that was phenomenal. However, not everyone can do the same thing to that magnitude, but you can do something similar. You know, Twitch is a great platform to use when you want to like just merge like gaming and like music. So like part of the role I always tell everybody too, you always want to have 2 listening events. The first listening event will be for tastemakers, DJs, influencers, radio execs, industry execs. You definitely want to make sure of that. And then the second listening party or listening event will be for you know, the fans and the consumers. You can translate those same things onto Twitch and utilize a game like Grand Theft Auto, where you can have like 100 people playing at one time, or a game like Fortnite or Overwatch, and integrate it all together. It wouldn't be the same like having your in-game character just like massively huge like how they did Travis, but you'll still have that similar experience where everybody's tapping into the music while playing the game. So it's a great cross-promotion thing on that level. You can still utilize, say, hey, we're going to do a listen event with GTA 5 exclusively on Twitch, and I'll still have that same effect.
Cool. Thank you. And thanks for all the advice. Kasim, seriously, I'm going to try to connect with you because you have some really, really good stuff. And I think that your advice here is not only helpful, but I'm sure a lot of people are gaining some advice from you worldwide because of all the work that you've done.
I appreciate you.